Hi everybody, it's me again. Welcome back. Here's the first of my reviews of this wonderful set, Prince 1999. Now there's going to be 3 videos. This first one's going to be an introduction, and also I'm going to talk about discs 1 and 2 because I'll be able to get through these 2 real quick. The second video will be the big meaty video, which is where I talk about discs 3 and 4. And the last video will be where I talk about the live album and also overall notes. I won't talk about DVD because I don't have a DVD player. And I've only heard a few comments about it and I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not going to give a quantified opinion on disc 6. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping first. First of all, massive thank you to everybody who watched the video, the unboxing video. It's up to 165 views, which I think is just absolutely outstanding for one of my videos. I can't thank you all enough. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's absolutely just flattering just to see so many people watching that video and liking it, and I can see I've picked up a couple of new fans, which is even better, and I'm just blown away, and I just can't thank you all enough, especially after the Around the World in a Day videos only got an average of 28 or 29 views each. So to have something like a 500% increase on a video where all I basically do is just open up an album and just make my first comments on it, I'm just blown away basically. So I just can't thank you all enough. I really appreciate it. And also too, I've noticed that Nightchild, Prince's Friend, and quite a few others have given some really good reviews on this set. I mean, I really enjoyed Nightchild's series, and then he put them all together in one big video, which is really good. So those of you who've got a spare hour, I'd suggest you play that Omnibus video and just watch the whole thing, because he really goes to town on it. And of course you can watch the individual videos as well. And then you've got Prince's Friend, who did an amazing review of it as well, which I really liked. And he's also like me, he's also managed to do it in fewer videos, but he still really gets to the point. And I felt sorry for him because he actually had to wait a few more days to receive his album. You know, I mean, I was actually quite shocked how many people had to wait to receive this thing. I was one of the first people to get it, yeah. So, and with my other videos too, 165 views, and it's still climbing. It's only about 3 or 4 a day, whereas usually most of my videos go great for the first day, okay for the second day, and then limp along for the rest of the time basically. I've only had 2 other videos that have done better this year. One, of course, is the Love Sexy Singles video. I've talked about this more than I want to. It's actually eased really right off now. It's only climbed to 11,400. It was about 11,000 in July, and still, again, unfortunately, that video just seems to be attracting a lot of people who just click on it for a few seconds and go away. And actually, if I look at the analytics, about 70 people have actually watched that video from start to end, and I think the 70 people are probably my hardcore subscribers and mates, and I really appreciate that. So I'm not really that happy about a video that gets thousands of views and it's only got people with really short attention spans. I mean, if you're going to click on someone's video, you know what you're getting when you see me. You know you're not going to get basically a live performance with massive studio values on Prince, basically. And then, of course, the other big viral video that's really taken off too is the one I did late last year about this Prince's gay rumour. And I still stand by everything I say in that video, basically. I mean, basically, the idea that Prince was gay is based upon a lot of homophobic stereotypes and stereotypes of gay people as effeminate, and also people who don't really understand Prince enough. They look at a couple of pictures of him and just decide he's gay, basically. And I still stand by everything in that video, and I'm glad a lot of people watched it. But of course, you know, unlike all my other videos, that one has attracted quite a lot of dislikes, and it's only got about 75%, whereas this video, this unboxing video, is at 100%, which I really like. So there you are. I mean, if you haven't seen the Prince is gay video, of course Prince is not gay video, I suggest you watch it, because it's really, I actually watched it the other day and I still think, well, this is one of the few videos I don't cringe at myself all the way through. So there you are. Now let's get back to this, okay? Now, you know, a week and a few days ago I was really enthusiastic about this album, and I have to say I still am, basically. I've been listening to it as much as I could. I mean, I've had a couple of busy weekends with stamp things and family things, and I work during the week, so it's really, really hard for me just to sit around and listen to music. But I have been trying. I mean, I listen to these 2 a lot in the car, because in my job I'm in and out of the car a lot, so I'm hearing it. And I also listen to the live album a few times. I've listened to the basically the bootleg, the Vault cassettes. I've had them on my Walkman when I've gone walking. I've listened to these as much as I can. I've listened to each album on average about 3 times. I've probably listened to disc 3 and disc 4 about 5 or 6 times. And now I feel qualified to make some comments. So without further ado, we'll go into the first album, which is the original album remastered. Now, I'm not going to review the music on this album because just a few months ago I did a series of reviews. The fact remains, it's 1999. It's a brilliant album. You don't need to be a genius to see it. This is great music. But what I did do is I actually listened to some of the comments other people were saying. Some people were saying all it is like Purple Rain Remastered is just louder. and you can't hear more, but I'm actually more of the opinion, like some of the comments like Prince's friend said, where you could hear individual instruments better, and you could hear some of the, like, he actually played chunks, from actually both versions of the album, and definitely the sound was sharper and clearer. Overall, 1999 is such a great album. I will admit I'm not really a sound junkie. I'm not one of these audiophiles, but even I agree that the sound on this is much better. It's more louder. It's like, there's actually more depth to the music, which is amazing. It's impossible for that to say, but it is. Like, you can just hear individual piano parts better. You can hear some background vocal mixes better. The drums are coming through a lot sharper. And that's amazing because compared to a lot of early Prince albums, the original mastering and the sound on 1999 is just superb. As you know, it was virtually all recorded at Sunset Sound. It was none of this Prince home studio or Prince at the Paisley Park or St. Louis warehouse. This was mostly recorded at Sunset Sound, and it sounds raw. It doesn't sound raw, it sounds polished, and it sounds really good. Basically, it's still a great album, and it's actually good to have it even next door to basically all the vault goodies you've got, So that's this album. Easily I would give this 9.5 out of 10, no hesitation, including the mastering. Of course, I will gripe a bit about the flimsy pack, I can see this, already you can see a week and a bit, you're already starting to get some dog earring on the spine, basically, and I'm sort of waving around like it's not helping. Now, we get to the second disc, and this disc has really divided a lot of people, and generally a lot of them don't really like it because they consider it unnecessary. I'm going to put through a logical argument for it. Okay, there is some really good stuff on this set. I really do love the studio mix of Let's Pretend We're Married. I know it sounds funny. I love DMS, and I even like the song Edited. It's got How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore on it, which is actually really convenient if you don't have the B-sides or a lot of the singles. But on the other hand, do we really need two versions of 1999 Edit, and do we really need a mono version of 1999? I know there are a lot of the collectors and vinyl purists are going to go, oh, goody, goody. I don't have to go out and buy my September 1982 release of 1999, the Ecuadorian version on Very Records or something like that to get it, But and also too, Let's Pretend We're Married, do we really need that song 3 times on the album? And I think it's just a bit too much on this album, but then again, had it not been included, I could imagine, people complaining, oh my god, 1999 Super Deluxe, and it doesn't even have a copy of How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore on it. So it's no pleasing everyone all the time. It's part of the set. I have actually listened to the album a couple of times. Like I said, the real highlight is it has got that special dance mix of Little Red Corvette, which is like the one on Ultimate, but actually, again, this is all being remastered, so this is actually sounds sharper and fresher. Especially the part where Prince goes, darling, there are things I want to do to you that you'll never forget. I just love that breakdown in the middle of it. Apparently he recorded that really late. That was recorded like at the start of '83, so it's just great in a lot of ways. And of course, maybe the Prince voyeur in us, sometimes we do actually want to listen to a version of Little Red Corvette with a chorus kicked out of it, or you want to hear a version of 1999 you can hear in a deliberate fade halfway through the guitar solo at 3.5 minutes into the song. But I'm sorry, I draw the line when I've got like a 2-minute 22 version of Delirious. To me, the beauty of 1999, and I have to say this, is that the songs are not edited, they're not cut down. This is Prince just basically letting a musical idea flow to its natural length. And one thing I love about 1999 is that you've got all these songs that are like 8-9 minutes long. They go on and on, but they don't sound like they overstay their welcome, if you get what I mean. They sound like the type of music that is completely relevant, and that's a good thing, basically. Whereas here, when you're chopping an 8-minute song down to 3 minutes, you're basically killing the spirit of it. And it also has no respect for the fact that with a lot of Prince songs, I know that this album was a deliberate attempt to grab the pop market, but the beauty of a lot of the songs on 1999 is the second half of them is that you really get to see Prince's instrumental virtuosity. You're cutting out a lot of the guitar solos, you're cutting out a lot of the limb drum, you're cutting out a lot of Prince's vocal effects, his drum lines, and it's just really, it's like eating an orange and basically chopping 3/4 of it off and throwing it in the bin and just eating like one bite of it. That's what it's kind of like in a way. But I do appreciate the packaging though. This is kind of a bit stolen from the Ultimate set, but you can actually see that this is pretty much, all you vinyl purists out there, and even I've got some of these, this is pretty much everything put out by 1999, but it is missing one thing. My Delirious single. You've seen my old plain paper Delirious promo single? 12-inch, it's only got a 3-minute version of Delirious and a 2-minute version. And it wasn't really released, it was just a promo sent to DJs because I wanted to play tracks and decide which song they wanted to blast into a hit. Of course, Delirious didn't get that accolade until mid-83. So there you are, that's the first 2 discs. And that's the first video, then I'll cut this baby and then I'll do another one, and thank you all for watching. Irresistible bitch, I love the way you talk. Every time I call your ass up on the phone, different voice answers, it says you're not at home. Yeah, there you go, there's my cloud guitar for you, Mr. N. See, I want one too, but it's actually a bit smaller than your one, but it's probably about the right size that Prince would play, wouldn't you agree? Yep, there you are. But anyway, seriously, disc 3 and disc 4, these are the important discs on the album. As you can see, they refer to Vault Tracks 1 and Vault Tracks 2. And fortunately, what I did was I actually wrote down a lot of notes when I was listening to them. I'm going to go through them. What I like about both discs, first of all, is that it's a continual process. I mean, on one side, you've got the fact that it starts in late 81, and realistically, all of the songs up to Bold Generation sound a lot like stuff that could have come off Dirty Mind or Controversy. I mean, definitely, pretty much, Vagina and songs like that almost sound like they could be off Dirty Mind, basically. And so with that one, I mean, first of all, some of the songs I already heard on bootleg, and definitely Irresistible Bitch and Feel You Up. I've already done a Purple Gem about Feel You Up. I still think it's a magnificent song. The remastering here is definitely much better, I think. You know, it's still a great song. Feel You Up, I mean, it's just amazing how different it sounds from the 1989 remake. So yeah, that's a great song, definitely, but it's got very primitive sound. You've got very early, you know, controversy, falsetto type vocals. It's got that frenzied organ going, you know, and then you've got Irresistible Bitch, which actually has a lot of Lynn in it, which is actually, again, the same thing, very frenzied vocals, very explicit lyrics, which are still off the Dirty Mind controversy area. And those were now, as I confirmed back when I did my Gem video, people thought they were from 82, but now they have proven that these songs date from probably the late autumn, early winter of 1981. Very clearly putting them well into the controversy era rather than the sort of 1999 era. And then we get to Vagina, basically, and this is a really weird song, I think. Okay, basically it talks about transsexuals and lesbians, has a really controversy sound. There's some really good guitar coming through. Prince's vocals are fabulous. I mean, they're all over the place, basically. Like, it's got a very catchy hook, you know. Half boy, half girl, best of both worlds. Vagina was a name, and like, I don't think it was about vanity. I mean, the woman in this song is clearly some sort of, you know, extreme lesbian rather than basically more like Bambi rather than Vanity, who was clearly basically, well, she kind of looked like Prince as a woman, but I mean, she was all woman apparently. I mean, she'd been starring in porno, and apparently she was very obsessed with sex and everything else. So there you are. And then we get into the song Rearrange, and a lot of people really like this song, and to be honest, I'm not that crazy about it. Really, to me, it's just basically repetition of a similar hook, you know what I mean? So it's all right, I guess, you know. I mean, I like the coda, the chanting's all right, you know. It does actually sound slightly overrated to me, you know. But then again, at the end of the songs, when it comes live, there's some amazing guitar shredding on the song. It just blows me away. I mean, it proves if nothing else, even at this early stage, Prince is one of the most awesome guitarists around. You know, and there's like several guitars coming through and some great drum beats. So that's basically Rearrange, which is a fairly good song, basically. And then we get to Money Don't Grow on Trees, and I should have done it earlier. This song I really like, and this actually sounds more advanced now, because this still actually dates from very early 1982. I mean, actually before all the Critics Love You in New York was taped. And this has got a really sort of almost very poppy feel. I mean, it's almost hard to believe he was writing the song for the time. But I mean, again, good coda. It's got a very nice dance, you know. And, you know, you could almost, you know, I love some of the lines like, you know, dance like Fred Astaire, go get a 9 to 5. It's actually a very positive song. I mean, the usual stuff about sex and partying gives way to a song about working hard and actually earning your money. I mean, after all, money don't grow on trees is a good moral. So this is another song I really like, and it's definitely a highlight. And I hadn't heard it before on any other, like Vagina and also Bold Generation and Rearrange. I hadn't heard this on any bootleg previously. So this is all new territory for me, basically. They could grow on me even more. Then we get to Bold Generation, and I actually got the shock of my life when I first heard this song, because this is definitely an early version of New Power Generation. But unlike the later song from 1990, this is a million times better. It lacks all the tacky overdubs and extra add-ons and all this other bullshit that you see on the 1990 version. And it's just in your face, absolutely funky as hell. You know, there's some amazing vocals by Prince in it. It's got the most amazing hook, and and I just, this is a supreme song. It's easily one of the best songs on the whole album. I mean, why Prince didn't do anything else with it, I mean, it's beyond me. I mean, and actually, it's actually quite shocking, and I want to see how much of Graffiti Bridge really was actually dreamed up at this time, because he also, as you know, the song Can't Stop This Feeling I Got is coming up too. You know, and I mean, it's so much better. I mean, unfortunately, by 1990, Prince was just overproducing the crap out of everything and putting overdubs on and trying to bring in rappers and everything else. But back here in 1981, 82, it was just straight ahead driving pop rock music. I mean, at this stage, this was already accessible pop, hitting in the vein of 1999 Little Red Corvette. Okay, and then we get to Colleen. This is just really an instrumental, but it is actually a really good instrumental. I mean, it's got some great guitar playing. There's some amazing bass work on it as well. But again, I mean, I've never been a big fan of instrumentals, but I guess they have their place. It's not bad. Then we get to a rehearsal version of International Lover. And this is kind of like Prince is almost sitting down at the piano in the studio and just basically singing the song. There's a nice backbeat behind it. Now, Morris Day apparently is playing the drums in the song, and I believe it. I mean, the drums are really good. You know, though they're very different to us playing on Chlorine Bacon Skin. Prince is actually singing it quite well. He tones down the screaming, but I really actually like this. And I know it's strange because this is basically a song that already appears on the album. It's a rehearsal version. You get a few of these. I really like it, you know. You can actually really hear sort of the instrumental parts of the song coming together, and it's actually really good. I think it's another highlight, like Bold Generation. It's a great song. Turn It Up. Okay, this is another song I'd heard previously on bootlegs, and I have to say I loved it there and I loved it here. A lot of people weren't so crazy about Turn It Up because it was really very repetitive, but Turn It Up is a floor filler basically. You can definitely see it's a precursor to something like DMSR. You know, Prince is doing this great, you know, falsetto vocal all the way through, going, turn it up, baby, I want to make you barely stop, turn it up, ow, you know, come on, baby. You know, it's a real hybrid between Let's Work, basically, and DMSR for me. I absolutely love it. The synths are great. Prince is doing falsetto. He drops down into his baritone at times. And, again, this is just more gold, basically. Again, it's another highlight. I mean, All I Want, again, this is a song that sounds like not a very good version of Jack You Off. I mean, it's got the Jack You Off melody running through it. And normally when a song sounds like another song, it's usually a precursor. The sad thing about All I Want, it was recorded in March, April of 82. It was actually recorded after Jack You Off. And a lot of us already know, a lot of us people who love the Controversy album actually decide that even though Jack You Off is funny, you know, it is definitely one of the weaker songs on the set, and sadly this is one of the weaker songs to it. Still, it's a new unreleased Prince song from the vault. When I say it's a lesser song, I'm not saying it's rubbish or it's bad, I'm just saying it's a very average to quite good song. I mean, it's still about a 7 out of 10 song. But I mean, after some of the stuff on this album, like, you know, Bold Generation, Money Don't Grow on Trees, and you know, stuff like that, and even Turn It Up, you know, I mean, this is definitely a come down, you know, basically. And then we've got this, God, my handwriting is so messy, I can't read it yet. Basically, Something in the Water Does Not Compute original version. Now, this is a very sparse version with some weird synths, but I actually like Something in the Water Does Not Compute. This is actually quite good. I mean, it's definitely like, unlike the later 1999 mix, this is definitely a bit more sparse. I still like it, not as good, but it's better than All I Want. And then we have If Will Make You Happy. Now, all of you guys probably know I'm a real big fan of reggae music, especially lovers rock. And this is an excellent version of Prince trying to do some lovers rock here. I think it's really good. You know, it's got a nice breezy reggae feel running through it. Prince is doing this very natural baritone voice. There's no falsetto here. The song's got quite a lot of sex in it. You know, apparently you can definitely hear Des Dickinson's backing vocals coming through in this. This is, I think at this stage, Prince must have been listening to some reggae music. Would have been recorded not long after Bob Marley died. And at one stage, I mean, Prince's manager was actually Don Taylor, who managed Bob Marley, and Prince met Bob Marley. Apparently didn't hit it off, but this is definitely much better than any other Prince's attempts of reggae, such as Blue Light. So, If It'll Make You Happy definitely takes the disc out on a high note. And overall, disc 3, the Vault Tracks 1, I mean, early 82, this is definitely an above average disc, basically. So, as I'm trying to keep this short, that's disc 3. The next video, I'll do basically disc 4. So there you are. So, overall, rating disc 3 out of 10. This is easily 9 out of 10. This is some fantastic stuff here. I mean, even if you're cash strapped, I mean, don't bother buying the deluxe or standard sets because you don't get this disc. This disc is essential. And actually, just listening to the songs on disc, you can see Prince developed from the sort of squeaky, high-pitched vocals of Fairly Up and Irresistible Bitch, basically, to these songs like All I Want and If It'll Make You Happy, basically, even though the last one I mentioned is not that great, it still shows a real progression. Here you are. Money don't grow on trees. Money don't, yeah, pussy got wet. Ooh, I'm possessed. Ow, turn down. You make me want to do things, purple politicians. Yeah, definitely my Prince tribute act. It's really coming along. Okay, now we're going to talk about disc 4. Now this is we talked about disc 3, and as you know, I like disc 3, but I'm going to tell you I really like disc 4. And that's strange because I've know a lot more of the songs on this one have already come out as bootlegs, which I know. But again, the magic of remastering. I mean, these songs sound absolutely flawless, and that's rich because actually there was actually a series of bootlegs I talk about all the time called Perfectly Unreleased Prince, and there are already some amazing versions of these songs out there. But these songs are just incredible, basically. And I mean, there are several songs on this album which are they're just beyond amazing, basically, even better than the first disc. You know, this is actually already, before we even get into reviewing songs, this is a 10 out of 10 album in my opinion. This is basically sign of the times quality. Okay, and the album starts off with basically one of the most classic and notorious Prince songs of all time, and that is Possessed. Now you're probably thinking, just a minute, wasn't Possessed on the Purple Rain Deluxe album? And it was. You got like this sort of weird synth running through it, going do 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 do, and Prince is singing different vocals. But this is an earlier version, which is more sparser. There's no overproduction or overdubs. Like I said, it's like Bold Generation without the new Power Generation crap all thrown into it. And actually, you can actually hear the lyrics more. And if you listen closely, Possessed is basically about how a woman's body and her beauty, namely now I'm using some felt language here, her pussy, basically have bewitched Prince completely. And it's a long song. It's very, very sexy. Prince's singing is great. He does a lot of screams and, you know, whelps when he gets excited. The song has some really, really sexualized lyrics, such as, you know, you make a Negro want to do things, you know, and then there's a line going, pussy got wet, that's right, pussy got wet. And some of such lines, he talks about a pussy like, your pussy puts up an awful fuss. I'm possessed, down, ow, stone cold crazy in love with you. I'm possessed, yeah, darn. It's just the song, it goes on and on, you just want to listen to it though, it just grabs your full attention. Like I said in the earlier videos, I mean, the thing about 1999 era songs is that they wander on for their national length, but unlike later long Prince songs, they never overstay their welcome. I mean, this is just natural music, basically. Possessed is an essential song, I mean, basically. And then we've got an earlier version of Delirious. I mean, you just cannot get enough Delirious on this album. You got Delirious on the original album, you got Delirious in the promo mixes. I mean, it's just basically become a Prince institution. In fact, between recording these videos, I was actually singing Delirious walking down the road and I didn't realise it. I mean, like I said, the song is just so damn catchy, it's not true. And this version is actually a sort of a more laid back version, like Prince is sitting on the piano playing it to you. Basically, it's a lot less poppy, but it does, you know, have a sort of melodic feel to it, you know, but realistically, when you've heard all the polished pop gloss of Delirious, I mean, this is almost a bit too much. And one of the letdown tracks on the album, if it was a lesser album, this would definitely be one of the better songs, but in between Possessed and Purple Music, it is a bit of a filler. And then even though I've just raved on about Possessed and Bold Generation, you know, the next song coming up is probably the finest song on the whole series. I mean, this would even outstrip DMSR, and that is Purple Music. Purple Music is one of the simplest grooves Prince ever wrote, but it is an insanely great song. It's got some of the most unforgettable melodies. And I mean, I've already got several boot mixes of Purple Music, but again, this one, they have just remastered it. You can just hear everything. You can hear all the synths, Prince's vocals. You can like hear all the individual vocal tracks. I mean, this is just cream in music. I mean, I don't talk about cream all the time, but this is what Prince cream sounds like, basically. Purple Music is an insanely good song. It includes just the unforgettable lines, you know, don't need no reefer, don't need cocaine. Purple Music does the same, and I'm high, darling, so high. Every subject, every key. Purple Music can't be bored, it happens naturally. And I'm high. And also the line, just being in church don't make a righteous man, and I'm high. Every subject, every key. And then Prince does that sort of deadpan voice, you know, Purple Music can't be taught, it happens naturally, so high. And basically what it's about is Prince was entering a phase of making purple music, basically. This is just amazing. I mean, I could sit here for weeks and weeks talking about everything in Purple Music, but I'm not really a technical musical guy. I'm not going to go into what the guitar solo at 4:25 into the song does or anything like that. I mean, it's just a song, it just has a natural reaction for you. It's just a great song, basically. And then we move into Yeah, You Know, which is definitely a very catchy earworm, and it really sticks in your head, you know. Basically, it's got a real rock and roll feel, actually, which is quite strange for this era, because Prince was definitely working a lot more with dance music and synths, you know, and stuff. And this has got the real sort of straight ahead rock and roll sort of, you know, Dirty Mind meets Purple Rain type sound to it. And just the other thing about this album too is that the bulk of these songs, even though it says April 82 to January 83, Basically, everything from Possessed right through to the second to last song, Teacher Teacher, was recorded in April, May, or June of 1982. And only the last bit, the tour sampler, was added in January 83. So we're still really talking about music that was made before the 1999 was released. And as you know, a lot of the songs on 1999 were cut in July and August. In the case of the title cut, that wasn't done until pretty much near the end because, like I said in a much earlier video about the making of 1999, Warner Brothers heard it. They said they heard a definite hit single in Little Red Corvette, but they just wanted one more poppy song to put it over the edge, and Prince came up with the song 1999, basically. And then, so yeah, it's a good song, but it's not that great, And then we get to the next song. Again, I can't read my damn writing. Moonbeam Levels. Well, how could I forget a song like that? Again, it's just an epic song. It's actually, this version actually does sound better than the version on Forever. And again, even before that, I did have several bootleg versions of the song. It really does. It actually sounds a lot sharper here, and it has a nice loud sound. You got the nice organs in the background. Prince's harmony vocals. He's singing on these backing tracks of himself. And again, it's about basically nuclear annihilation, and it's got this sort of really nice feel to it. And then we get to another really sort of take on the song Jack You Off, No Call You, except this one is 1,000 times better, basically. It's got a real soulful feel to it, this song, No Call You. Great vocal. Again, it's got an absolutely amazing hook. It's amazing how many songs from this era have great hooks in them, And there's a nice little stomping keyboard running through it, basically. So again, not like the greatest song on the album, but definitely a pleasing song, a riff and a party song, basically. Then we move to another highlight on this album. Already there's been 3 or 4 highlights on this album. Purple Music, Moonbeam Levels, and Possessed. We've got Can't Stop This Feeling. And again, just for Possessed, I definitely like that version more than the Purple Rain version, basically. I think that this is the age before Prince was really overproducing the fuck out of everything. Starting with Purple Rain, Prince just started to get carried away with self-indulgence. Here, Prince is still hungry. He's still trying to get that high level of fame, and he really is just putting as much honesty and hard work into the music as he can possibly do it. Okay, Can't Stop This Feeling. I know you're thinking straight away 1990 Graffiti Bridge track. Wrong. It's actually another song from 1982, and this sounds much more sparse but much better. It's a nice early demo, Prince is basically singing just about entirely in his baritone voice here, so again, it's this move away from falsetto. There's an amazing guitar and drum track going on, and again, I think it's Morris on the drums. I think I showed on the video, it is actually Morris playing the drums, and there's some great organ, and again, it is just basically another one of these songs where Prince is singing really well, and you can just hear the instrumental virtuosity in it, and it's also got the great, The lyrics aren't really that changed though. It's like, can't stop this feeling I got, I'm feeling right down to my toes, I can't stop, ow, cause I'm falling to that, what you want to tell you, so, So, great song, and I just think it's amazing, basically. It's definitely one of these songs. And then we get into another song, Do Yourself a Favor. This is funky. I already had this on bootleg, but this version is so sharp and so clear. It's just a magnificent harmony. It starts off about, this woman who left him, and his life has just got so much better ever since his bitch left him, basically. I use the term because the woman sounds like a complete bitch, And of course, the title "Do Yourself a Favor" actually comes from an ancient '94 East song or something like Pay Pay Willie, but this is entirely Prince, basically. And I won't see you anymore, and it's getting better, baby. Oh, much better than before. I don't want to know. And then there's a funny part after the singing, there's some good playing that goes into a part where Prince does this Morris Day old man pimp voice. He goes, hey, baby, come here, can't you look at this? And you hear the scrunching noise of, hey, you see that? That's a $50 bill. When's the last time you saw one of those? I've never seen them, baby. I never saw that with you. You get back here, don't you run away from me, and you hear like this drum track going, do. Go, that's right, baby. Yeah, you get on now. And then it finishes off with that talking, and it's just hilarious. And then we get to basically, and then the next song is Don't Let Him Fool Ya. Basically, again, this is another song that's got some amazing falsetto coming through it, and again, it's got that real sort of stompy organ feel. Synth playing. It's a very cute song, but the lyrics are weak, quite slight, and quite daft, really, but still, I like it. It's not great, but it's still a decent song, basically. There's no real rubbish on any of these discs, basically. Some of the songs are definitely very lightweight, but, not everything Prince had to do had to be a great stuff. There's enough great stuff on these discs to make them worth the purchase price alone. Just to hear Possessed and the way you hear it, and of course Purple Music. When you get songs like that on an album, you're basically looking at highlights. How many artists out there today do you think could make a song in the caliber of Purple Music? I don't think there'd be many, basically. And then we finally get to the last new song on it is Teacher Teacher. And I have heard later versions of Teacher Teacher. I always thought this song for some reason dated from about 85, 86, so from that sort of Camille, sort of 3 o'clock era, Paisley Park era. But again, it dates from 1982. It's just amazing how many great songs Prince wrote in 1982. I mean, I made a joke on Mr. Rand's video. I said, I never knew how much of Graffiti Bridge was written in 1982, and he actually thought that was quite funny. And it's true. There's a lot of Graffiti Bridge type feel, because a lot of the Graffiti Bridge tracks, of course, date from 86. Stuff like Soul Psychedelicide and The Question of You, all that type of stuff. But I mean, a lot of it also dates from 82, And then, anyway, Teacher Teacher's got some very good guitar playing in it. It's got a good sort of, tinny sound. I love the vocals. It has a good feeling. The falsetto and baritone, it's a good mixture of them. And it kind of once has a nice female part, and then like he's going, teacher, teacher, and you're like, go baby, yeah! So it's a good mix. And then we have the tour song. This is sort of like a weird synth workout, and it's kind of like a mega mix of basically 4 songs. You can hear basically I Want to Be Your Lover in parts. You can hear also a very heavy Lynn drum playing, and Heat comes on, then Little Red Corvette, and it's basically something that was played in the second half of the 1999 tour. It's definitely later than anything else, and again, like the sort of Horny Toad and the re-recording of Little Red Corvette, the special dance mix, this is definitely one of the latest cuts on the album. So that's disc 2, definitely one of the most essential parts of the album, and there's the reviews of them. Peace and be wild. Prince and the Revolution live at Masonic Hall. Alright, this is disc 5 of the wonderful Super Deluxe Prince 1999 Super Deluxe Remastered album set. And this is a masterpiece, basically. Now, I'll tell you some stuff none of the other videos told you about yet, but I decided to do some research with my old-time Prince book from Mr. Per Nilsson. Now, apparently, this show, recorded on the 30th of November 1982, this was part of 6 concerts Prince played at the Masonic Temple Auditorium in Detroit, Michigan, USA. Now, this is before he could sell out places like the Cobar Arena, which is where he went to from Purple Rain onwards, and also the Joe Louis Arena. Now, the Masonic was only was basically a theatre with 4,900 capacity. He played 6 shows, including 2 matinees, so there'd be 4 evening shows. It was November 30, December 1, 2, and 3. As far as I know, this show, as I've mentioned, was the second show on the 30th, so the first show must have been the matinee show. So this is definitely the second show of 6. Now, according to this, all 30,000 tickets, well, 29,400 anyway, were sold out to the shows. And even at this time, Detroit was basically the city with the biggest Prince following in the whole States. And just remember, this is only just when the 1999 tour started. It started on the 11th of November, so this is not even 3 weeks into the tour. And already, I mean, Prince is getting rave reviews. Before we go any further, now these were shows that had Vanity 6 and the time performing, and some people did mention, like, why does this show not have the time and the Vanity 6 performances? To be honest, my opinion, I would have loved to have heard the time performance. I mean, I probably wouldn't have been so crazy about hearing Vanity 6 because, let's face it, apart from Nasty Girl, Makeup and Drive Me Wild, there's not really a lot on that album you really want to listen to. And apparently, too, the time we're playing Behind the Curtain, then we can pay for it. So, anyway, there was one review on this book. It says here that Jim McFarlane from the Detroit News Critic felt that Prince had matured in a great deal from the earlier tours. Sexual themes still possess Prince's music and manner, but his brash depiction of them has been greatly sublimated. He is showing a sensitive side for the first time in his performance, smiling and joking easily, more seducer than cocksure exhibitionist. And I kind of have to agree listening to this show. First of all, let me talk about the sound of the show. It's absolutely stunning. Very high quality sound. You can hear the instruments, you can hear all the members of the Revolution playing on stage. Basically, what I love about it too is that you can really hear members of the Revolution putting their harmony vocals through the songs, and Prince is having an easy banter with the audience. Some of the it's not muddy, I mean, but yeah, at the same time you do get the authentic concert feel because you can hear audience cheering for a lot of it, and Prince teasing the audience and everything else. Basically, the show starts off, it's pretty much as it's played. I think there might be a couple of little snips between songs. But essentially, Controversy is the opener, and I already talked about back on the Controversy review about how the song was quickly turning into an opener. And basically, the whole thing starts for about a minute, and you just hear, guitars playing and music in the background. And in the middle, Prince jumps in and goes, "Hello, Detroit, hello, Motor City," and starts singing Controversy. He does a really good version of it, and you can hear, Lisa and Jill go, "Do I believe in God? Do I believe? Yeah, controversy turning. Come on, everybody, raise your hands. You know, it's all that audience participation. You know, and then he moves into Let's where he goes, okay, Detroit, are you ready to work? Come on, let's work. Dun, dun, dun. Ow! Come on, baby, let's work. Dun, 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 dun. I got my eyes on you. Dun, dun, dun. And it's just really funky. The music's being carried along. It's a real opener. And then after the end of Let's Work, Prince basically slows down and goes, this is for you fast girls out there, and starts getting into Little Red Corvette. And then this first section of the concert, this is the only song off 1999 basically. I mean, a lot of these songs are from Dirty Mind and Controversy. And he does a really good version of Little Red Corvette, and he goes, baby, you're much too fast. You gotta slow down, baby, gotta slow down. He breaks it down. And then basically he moves into Do Me Baby, and the version of Do Me Baby is incredible. He does all the screaming and whooping. He goes, take me, baby, kiss me all over. And you hear all the people, and you can hear, like, you know, Des and Lisa and Brown in the background. Ooh, I want you now. And then there's a part where Prince does his scream going, oh, baby, I just never stop loving you. Towards the end, he does the screams, and he goes, yeah. About 6 minutes and 8 seconds into the song, he goes, I'll never stop loving you. Yeah. It's just so good. And then that moves into Uptown. He does an amazing version of Uptown. He talks about how, you know, Detroit is the Uptown. He's having so much fun on stage. And you can hear, like, again, Des and, you know, it sounds like a lot of men singing. So I'm assuming that Des and Mark are singing background vocals to Prince. Prince is just absolutely going bananas on stage, basically. And then after that, you hear him leave the stage. This is like the sexy part of the concert. And then you just hear a lot of synthesizer and organ noises. And this is interlude. This is basically Lisa playing while Prince, my suggestion is almost certainly Prince is probably getting changed into another costume, even though probably during Do Me Baby and Uptown and Head, of course. I mean, the version of Head is just hilarious. Go, Head, till you fell in love, come on now, Head, everybody, sing it, Head, you know, because it's Dirty Mind era songs, everyone's expected to know the lyrics. You can also hear, you know, Des and Lisa in the background doing background vocals. And then, of course, he comes back on stage and he starts performing How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore. Now, a lot of the fans would really be familiar with that song because it was a B-side to 1999, which was a single at the time. And, of course, because it's such a good song, it's an instant classic. And it's actually one of the few songs that actually appears on all 3 different discs, because there's a version of How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore on disc 3. And then, of course, it's on disc 2 as well as a B-side. And basically, that ends into the part going, come on, but if why don't you call me anymore? Have you found yourself another man? You know, well, I found myself another woman. And last night we were making love, you know, and you know what happened? Well, I'm in the middle of making love. I called out your name. And he talks about how he went to the doctor said, Prince, yes, Prince. You know, and then there's a funny part go, come on, baby, why don't you call me sometime? It's just one lousy motherfucking time. It's just so funny. He's swearing his head off, you know, and he goes, how come you don't call me, baby? And then all this frenziedness going, are you going to call me? And then he finally goes, she ain't going to call me, let's go. You know, and then it goes into basically Automatic. And basically that song is also done incredibly well. He's, you know, he's doing all the noises and suspirations, and you hear basically Wendy and not Wendy, sorry, Lisa and Joe, you know, torture him. And I don't actually remember much from Automatic, but I hear him going International Love, and you hear, ladies and gentlemen, put your seatbelts on, please. And he does a really good version of International Lover, which is just so sexy. You can hear him screaming his head off, you know, during the sex part, going, I felt a little bit of turbulence along the way. You know, for any loss of cabin pressure, I will automatically drop down and climb on, you know, so all of that's in there. And this is Detroit, so I mean, I'm imagining this is still November 82. This is before Little Red Corvette crossover, so you're probably imagining the audience is probably 99 to 100% black. So there's a lot of black women in there. I can imagine what it looked like. They're probably all screaming their heads off. They're all losing their wigs to Prince. And all the guys being like, yo, man, this Prince, he's like the biggest Mac Daddy around, you know. So it would have just been the atmosphere in the room. You can just hear it because at the end of International Lover, you can hear like the plane sounds landing. You just hear all this cheering for about another minute. And then they come back on stage and start doing 1999. They do a real rousing version of that. And they just tear the roof off of that song. They're just blowing it away, you know. Prince even swears a couple of times, you know. And then finally, there's about 2 minutes more of cheering. You think 1999 was the finale, but it's wrong. They come back and they sing DMSR. And basically that again is really well done. He's doing all the dancing. He's teaching people how to dance on the one, you know. And then finally at the end of it, you still got about 2 or 3 minutes of basically just the guitar playing, and at the end it finishes with about a minute of just audience cheering. So Prince leaves the stage, audience is just absolutely blown away. Now, one controversy about this whole tech is that some of the guitar solos in songs like Head, and I think also too on Automatic, apparently they were supposed to be played by Dez, but they were played by Prince, because by this stage Dez has got really lazy. He's joined this Christian group. He's gone off, the more disgusting lyrics of the songs. I can imagine he's probably, even though I find it hard to believe when you can hear his backing vocals very prominent doing some of the dirtier songs like Do Me Baby and Head, basically. And so that's it. Okay, there's another disc on this album for that one, so this is definitely recommended. I'd give it again a 9.5. I mean, it's up there with disc, but it's not quite as good as disc 4. I mean, those Vault tracks like Purple Music were just too good, And then finally we've got this DVD, which was the last thing on it. Sadly, I have not watched this DVD. Apparently, from what I've heard from what Mr. Ant said and what I heard from other people say, is that even though it's a great concert, the show's a lot different to the audio one. The fact remains is that it looks like you put it in, there's no opening menu or anything, it just goes straight into the show. Apparently the footage is a bit grainy and it just looks, some people are saying it's very slapdash and added in. At a later date, if I ever get a DVD player or get to watch it, I will actually do a review of this disc, but for now I can't do that. So that's the whole album. I've reviewed it. Basically, I've given the marks to the final discs. Disc 1, the original album, I gave that a 9. Disc 2, because it's just add-on premixes, that got a low mark, and I gave that a 5. Disc 3 got 9.5. Disc 4 got 10, and Disc 5 got 9.5. Giving the whole album an overall score of 43 out of 50, which is 8.6, which is a good A- to A quality score, basically. And I gave it a couple of extra marks for the booklet, so give it 8.8 out of 10. There you are. Now, I just want to talk about a couple of controversies with this album. One of them is that there was a lot of dissent over the fact that 2 songs from this era were not included on the set. That includes Extra Lovable and Lust You Always. Basically, both songs had some lyrics which were basically extremely violent towards women. I mean, I can, if you're sensitive to hearing sexist words and lyrics, I'll repeat the lyrics for you right now. Lust You Always includes the line going, my body reeks with lust, I will rape you if I must, basically. And Extra Lovable includes the lines going, I'm sorry my dear, I'm just going to have to rape you now. Now are you going to get in the bathtub or am I going to have to drag you? I can be very violent, So basically that is quite violent. I mean, okay, it's bad, but it's not like he's threatening to kill a woman. And like, if you compare it to some of the obscene rap music around, all the stuff about yo, bitch, you know the rules, bitch, yeah, bitch. And they talk about women as hoes and all that good for is sex, and they don't see women as being anything beyond sexual containers. And even a lot of heavy metal music, like, take Guns N' Roses song, it's got, I forget that's it, It's So Easy. I mean, the second ever song they wrote includes the line going, turn around, bitch, I got a use for you. I mean, so sexist, violent crap in music is nothing new. I don't agree with it. I still think the song should have appeared on the album, and I think what they've done is hypocritical, because if there's a lot of songs on the original album, I mean, like Let's Pretend We're Married includes such lines as, I sincerely want to fuck the taste out of your mouth. International Lover 2 also talks a lot about some very graphic sex, Lady Cab Driver, of course, has the whole humping rape scene in the taxi, where he's going, this is for politicians who rule the world, supreme. This is for whoever taught you how to kiss in designer jeans. And then, of course, you've got some very obscene lyrics on disc 5, the version of How Come You Don't Call Me More, such as, lines like, don't you want to see my Tootsie Roll? It's just one lousy motherfucking dime. And then you've got, of course, in Let's Work extended version, I'll work you, baby, I'll work you up the walls, and then, of course, Possessed has got such lines as, your pussy puts up an awful fuss, your pussy got wet. The fact remains is, yes, the songs have violent and sexist lyrics, but the whole of 1999 is an album full of violent and sexual lyrics. The song Automatic is basically about torturing people. There's a scene in the video where Prince is being tied to a bed and whipped while people put cigarettes out on his body. So it's not just picking on women. I mean, this is not an album recommended for children. I mean, if I hear stories about people giving this to a 6-year-old child or even a 13-year-old child, I'll be quite shocked. This is very X-rated music. I mean, I see it in many other videos, as brilliant as it is, this is by far Prince's dirtiest album, basically. I mean, it's even more filthy and more graphic than some of the stuff you hear on Come and The Gold Experience. And Dirty Mind, I mean, Dirty Mind, he only swears a couple of times, but in the live shows, Prince is swearing quite a lot. I mean, there's quite a few F-words thrown in, and of course, but I mean, in the song, just on the B-side, it's just like, it's just one lousy dime, baby. But in the concert, it becomes, it's just one lousy motherfucking dime. I mean, this is not kindergarten music, people. I mean, of course, I mean, women are going to get bent out of shape because of the lines in Extra Lovable and Lust You Always. They're going to get bent out of shape when they hear stuff about your pussy putting up an awful fuss and sincerely wanting to fuck the taste out of somebody's mouth, you know. So that's why I think it's hypocritical, and that's why I think they should have put those songs on. They could have taken off some of the lesser filler cuts like Yeah, You Know, and what's another pretty awful song on the set? Well, there were a couple of songs on disc 1 which I felt were just not really essential songs. Yeah, Rearrange, Colleen, and basically don't really need to be on the set, basically. So, I mean, they could have easily been replaced by Extra Lovable and Lust You Always. The other thing, too, of course, is the price. I mean, I still think, you know, a lot of people, you know, this is over $100 New Zealand money. That is a very significant amount of money for an album, especially from what someone would consider definitely a legacy artist. You know, he basically has a niche group of fans. The fact remains, no matter how many new fans we try to attract, 90% of the people who listen to Prince are in their 40s and 50s now. This is not an artist that really has much capture or appeal amongst the young music buyers of this world. And sadly, like I think it might have been Mr. Ants or Prince's friend, one of them, and if I get it wrong, please don't quote me about this, but they did say, you know, that as soon as a lot of us die, I mean, probably also Prince's fandom for Prince will die. I mean, it'll just be a few people politely remembering selected songs and albums like Purple Rain. So, in a way, I mean, I felt that they could have made the set a lot cheaper. I think $134.99 is an excessive amount of money to charge just for basically 5 albums and a booklet. I mean, especially now when you can get a new release album for like $19.95, and that's New Zealand dollars. I mean, I'm not the bank of the International Bank Exchange, so I mean, whatever your currency is, it's still way too much, basically. And also the marketing too. I mean, the fact that I'm hearing stories of people not receiving their albums until early December and Amazon stuffing them up and stuff. I mean, this is something, I mean, that should be out in the shops on the day it's promised to be released. And even that, I mean, it took something like, they announced it back 3 or 4 months ago. I mean, why can't they just release the thing quickly instead of making us wait for months and months and months, you know? And final point, overall, I mean, overall I'm delighted with this, but I am really hoping this will be the last big, you know, thing for a while, because this year we've had about 5 books, we've had at least 3 major albums, you know. It has just been a bloody expensive year to be a Prince fan, you know. I mean, I probably poured close to $500 just on Prince stuff this year alone. So it's becoming a really expensive hobby. So yeah, so there's my thoughts. You know, hopefully you enjoyed these videos. And what I'll do, this is the last one, it's a wee bit longer than the others, I can see it's about 16 minutes now, is I'll put this one up, and then I'll probably put all 4 together as an omnibus set so you can watch them all together. So peace and be wild, and next video will be my review of the Beautiful Ones book. Peace and be wild.